Welcome back to Sledgehammer Horror, guys. I am Ken Sledge, and let's talk horror. Now, today I'm joined by the amazing Radar DeBoard. Radar, how you doing today, man?
Ooh, pretty good. You called me amazing. I'll take it.
Well, we had an amazing time. We actually met through our great friend Angel, Voices of the Mausoleum. So it's amazing to finally have you here. Now, before we actually start talking about why you're here, I would like for the people that don't know you to get to know you a little bit. Um, You were born on the flat and barren plains of Wichita, Kansas, the great state of Kansas, which houses so many of my amazing friends, from Josh Burwanger to the Nerds of Nostalgia, Nightmare Junkhead, as they're known as, my good friend Benji King. What an amazing state of Kansas. And now we know that you come from that amazing state as well. But being from Wichita, Kansas, there's not a whole lot to do. So you had nothing but time on your hands, time to hone your craft of writing stories that explored the darkest parts of your imagination. Now, what got you started in writing?
Well, I used to be a theater kid in high school, and we used to do something called one acts, which is where, they had sort of the older kids write a one act play and then have other people get together with them and put it on. So I started by doing that. And then I got the writing bug. And a couple of years down the line, I went, why don't I try to do it full time or
Right.
at least as a big hobby?
Well, and then, going from that, you received your master's in economics. You took your work to another level, far more gruesome than the last. So you can analyze fear, truly find what keeps you up at night, and give your greatest nightmares back to you in written form. So, where are people able to find some of your writing?
Yeah, so the vast majority of it is on Amazon. That's where you can buy like the books I've been in and the books that are my own. But you can Google search me, and I've given a lot of my stories over to YouTubers and podcasters so they can read them for free because, hey, might as well. It helps me get my name out there. It gives them content. So it's a win-win situation. So you can Google search if you want to, but maybe go check out my Amazon page. That's probably your best bet.
Well, the easiest way to do that, guys, is by clicking that link down in the description because I got those links down in the description. I also have all of Radar's social media links. So make sure you're following him on social media so you can stay up to date on everything he has done for us and everything he has coming up. So, as always, if you're a writer, the gears are always turning, the wheels are always spinning. Do you have anything that you're working on currently that you can talk about?
Yeah, so there are two books that are currently at the publisher. So I'm waiting to get the edits back from them on that. Who knows when that'll happen?
Right.
But those two are happening, and then there are two self-published books I'm having go through beta reads right now, but I'm already working on the covers with a few people on those, and I'm pretty excited for those. This will probably come out sometime next year. So
That's
look
awesome,
for
man.
those.
Well, and like I said, the best way to stay up to date with that is by following him on social media. He'll be giving you all the updates that you could possibly imagine. So, in order for you to write horror stories and be so involved in the horror genre, Radar, horror had to start for you somewhere. So now, my friend, I would like to go back to the past and talk about what got you started in the horror genre, your first horror movie, and Radar, the first horror movie you watched was.
Halloween 5, The Revenge of Michael Myers. Which is a weird first horror movie to watch. I'm sure there's not many people who are like, that's the one. That's what got me started. And I mean, there were other horror movies I had probably seen before then, but I just don't remember them. They didn't stick with me. Halloween 5, for some reason, was the first one that actually stuck. And I remember
As a
stuff from
kid,
it.
as a
Yeah.
kid, this was the Halloween film I watched the most. This was the first
Okay,
Halloween
good.
film I had seen. But again, I didn't catch this until I was probably 12, 13 years old. Um, I was very late to the Halloween franchise, but this was the first one I watched. This was the one I watched the most. I have a very soft spot for this movie. I know it's not the greatest movie in the world. I understand that, but I do have a very big soft spot for it. So, do you remember about how old you were when the first time you had seen it was?
It was either 7 or 8. It was back when AMC did Fear Fest. I
Fear
don't know if they
Fest,
still do
baby.
it. Yeah, heck yeah! I saw so many movies. My parents were like, "Well, you better not watch it," but then I would sneak it on Fear Fest. Oh man,
Right.
I've seen so many good movies that way.
Dude,
I
and they used to just play like just I don't I agree with you. I don't know if they do anymore, but they used to just
can't
play
remember.
blocks. And it was always Halloween 2, 4, and 5 were the ones that I always caught on Fear Fest,
Yeah.
man. It was always those three. Um So, do you remember who you watched it with for the first time?
It was so I was at my grandma's house and she was just out of the living room. So I kind of there's like a little back bedroom. I snuck in there and was like, I'm just gonna play with like this toy. And I just turned on the TV, turned the volume down really low, was like, all right, Halloween 5's on. I don't know what that is. Let's give that a shot, see what it is. It looks spooky.
Right. Little did you know, the spookiest part was the cops themselves.
All clear.
Nothing above, nothing below.
So this is a movie that is very divisive in the community. I know a lot of people that really love this movie. I know a lot of people that look down on this movie very hard. But do you remember which scene it was that affected you the most?
It was so it's where Jamie gets chased into the Myers house by Michael Myers and stuff. And it's specifically the scene where she gets like into the laundry chute and she has to start crawling her way back up. I remember that just sticking with me so much, like, and as a 7 or 8 year old kid going, "Whoa, this is
Yeah.
so cool!" And it's still pretty solid today.
And then come to find out, they were using a real knife during that.
Oh,
scene.
really? I didn't know
Yeah.
that.
Behind the scenes, they talk about how that's a real knife, and Danielle Harris has to make the right moves at the right time. Like, that's a lot of pressure to put on a little kid, man.
Holy crap! I couldn't do that.
I couldn't let my kids do it. You know what I mean? Like, there's no way as a parent I could sit there on set and be like, take
That's
the
all right.
risk.
One stab, what'll that do? Come on.
Right. Come on, you'll live. It's just your foot. So again, this is a movie that I am a big fan of. This movie, I know a lot of people rank this at the bottom of their Halloween ranking. I think there's many Halloween films that are worse than this one, but we know which scene affected you the most. But did you have a favorite scene from the film, maybe that stuck with you?
God, a favorite scene. I don't know about a favorite scene. That laundry chute one is really good, but I think the other one is just everything in that barn scene because it's such an interesting set piece that I think besides Friday the 13th Part 3, I don't really think there's too many barn scenes in horror movies, which cardinal sin, guys. We need to fix this. Come on, get more barn
We need
scenes.
more barn scenes, yeah.
We need more barn scenes.
And that's one. It's almost to the third act where you're starting to really get into what's happening in the film, and that may lead right into my next question because as horror fans, we love the kills. Kills is something that always we look for. We live vicariously through the kills. Which kill was your favorite from Halloween 5?
Oh man, I really like, and it might be in that now as opposed to when I was a kid because I probably don't necessarily recall which was my favorite as a kid, but now it's that greaser who ends up getting like the whatever the garden hose shears to him,
Mm-hmm.
and he totally deserves it too. So I think that's my favorite of him just getting blindsided by it.
Yeah, that dude, he's just legit, just a total douche.
Oh yeah,
Like that guy is king douche of all the douches in Douche Town, man. So I completely agree. When he gets it, you're just like, you get what you get, buddy.
this is fine with me.
Right? Yeah, doesn't bother me at all. So Halloween, as a universe, is ever expanding. We just recently found out at the time of filming that they are going to be doing more in the Halloween franchise. The Halloween rights have been sold, so obviously Halloween did not end. But with this ever expanding franchise where we're at right now, which film would you say is your favorite in the Halloween franchise?
I mean, I gotta give it out to the OG. I gotta be a basic bitch, pardon my French, but I gotta go with it. It's just so impactful and so cool. Like the atmosphere is unrivaled. I think the pacing is fantastic in it. It just does so much so well, and it's the OG for a reason.
And absolutely. And while I've said this before, and I'm sorry for repeat viewers, it may not be the first slasher film, but it is the prototypical slasher. If somebody's looking to make a great slasher film, Halloween 1978 would be the film that I recommend because what it did for me, at least, is it really took that idea of making your villain and your protagonist just as important to the story. You learn just as much about Michael as you do about Laurie. And the slashers that came before, obviously Psycho, you learn about
Right.
Norman, but you don't learn about the Mrs. Bates side of him. Black Christmas, you don't learn a fucking thing about Billy except for
Nope.
his eyes. So this movie really took that and said, you know what we're going to do is we are going to make you understand who Michael is We're going to make you understand who Laurie is, and then we're going to, bash it together. We're going to give you the slow burn, some really awesome deaths. And that's what the OG Michael or Halloween did, and it gave you one of the most iconic scores of all time.
Oh
It's
yeah.
another one of those movies that shows you like a score can make or break a film. The OG Halloween does everything right when it comes to being a slasher film. So be basic bitch all you want, man. I can't argue with it. So we know that horror started for you with Halloween 5. We know that your favorite Halloween movie, obviously, Halloween, the OG. Now, like we said, the rights have been bought. They're going to continue the franchise. Are you excited for them to continue the franchise, or would you have liked to let a sleeping dog lie and just end it with Halloween Ends?
I feel like I probably would be fine with it just lying where it is, but Halloween Ends was just such a divisive ending. There's a lot either way. I feel like it maybe leans more one way with people than the other, but I kind of hope that they do what John Carpenter originally wanted, where it's just some weird anthology of
Yeah.
like different Halloween stories. I'm totally fine with them doing that, like making it into a series. That's where you should go with it.
I really hope that they do like a big middle finger to everybody and make Michael into Michelle and make him a black woman. I think that would be the funniest shit ever. Just so you know what, fuck you guys. We're gonna piss everyone off. That to me would be great. You're gonna piss everyone off. Just really, really do it. So we know that horror started with you with Halloween. But now my friend, my little buddy Ghostface is here, and he has a question for you. What's your favorite scary movie, Radar? What is
Uh-oh.
your favorite horror movie of all time?
Well, again, I'm being a basic bitch. It's the original Halloween. I really love it, but follow closely by the thing. John Carpenter just has my name, man.
And The Thing not only is one of the greatest reimaginings of a film of all time, I think it's the most, and I legit mean the most underrated score of any horror movie
Oh yeah.
ever. Not just the score, but the absence of score. Everything about that movie is just so damn beautiful, and it works so well. Huge fan of what they did with that film. And like I said, my top 3 practical effect films of all time. One of the best scores of all time, probably the best remake slash reimagining of a film being The Thing from Outer Space, and what John Carpenter was. And it's even funnier because in Halloween, they're watching The Thing from Outer Space on TV.
Right.
So you have like that John Carpenter living out his dream by making The Thing later on. I just think that was another brilliant scene in Halloween, and in hindsight, seeing how that plays
Right.
out, I think that's absolutely amazing. So
You love to see it, you know. You got to watch his dreams unfold in real time.
exactly. You go back and watch it now, and you're like, hey, I see what you did there. Now, I've had an amazing time, Radar, talking to you about your first horror movie, your favorite horror movie, and a lot of the things that you've done with your writing, which again, guys, those links are down in the description. I'm going to talk about it again here in a minute. But before I let you go, we always end with the same question. We're going to bounce back to Halloween 5. And what we're going to do here is rank this movie on a skull count. Now, we're not ranking it on acting, production, score, direction. Like, we're not being critics. All we're doing is ranking this movie on how much it affected you on your first viewing. So 0 skulls being not effective, 5 being extremely effective. You can use half and quarter skulls anywhere in the middle. Radar, what would your ranking of Halloween 5 be?
So, on terms of just being effective and having an impact on me, 5 out of 5 skulls. This is what really kickstarted my love of horror. And I mean, I'm still obsessed with the Halloween franchise. It started that, and it just kept me down the road. Got me into then Jason, then Freddy Krueger, then Chucky from Child's Play. All of those series wouldn't have happened if I wouldn't have watched Halloween 5.
That was your gateway drug, man.
That was the one. It got me in the door.
So I'm going to be true to my word, guys, because I'm going to talk about it again. The best way to stay up to date with everything Radar has coming up and the things that he's done already is to follow him on social media. Make sure you're checking out his Amazon store, guys, because he does an amazing job at getting in your head and scaring the shit out of you. And like I said, I'll have some of the links to some of the things that podcasters and other people have done for his books down in the description as well. So you can go and listen to them, and then you can get them yourself and kind of get that fear inside of you. So, Radar, my friend, please don't go anywhere. I got a couple more questions for you. Everybody else, if you haven't already, please like and subscribe. It really does help the channel more than you know. And follow Sledgehammer Horror on social media. Our links are down in the description as well. But until next time, keep talking horror, stay what you are, and we'll see you guys soon.